Hi guys, I'm so excited because today we are going to be trying out the new Urban Decay palette, and you're probably sitting there thinking, Annette, did you buy that? Because that color story is not you. But let me tell you, I got an email from Urban Decay asking to opt in on their PR list, so I did get this sent in PR, and I had no idea what was coming my way because it's been a little while since I got the email, so they didn't say in the email what the release was going to be. So I kind of saw the sneak peek a little while ago after I had applied to get the PR, and I was like, that's probably what's coming. So that's what we're going to be testing out today. Like I said, this color story isn't really like my color story. If you're new to my channel, I mostly focus on very colorful and very bright makeup because that is my aesthetic and that is what makes me happy. But obviously this is quite a neutral palette, so I'm not going to let my preferences get in the way of me reviewing this palette for what it is. So even though it's quite a neutral palette, I'm going to see it as a neutral palette, and we're just going to test out the quality and see what it's like. When I swatched it, it seemed like very, very nice quality. The dark mattes swatched so well, and I'm very excited that despite this being a naked palette, there still is a lot of depth in it, which a lot of the other palettes from Urban Decay, it's one of the reasons that I haven't really bought any of them. A lot of them have very light mattes, and I like to be able to create a little bit of depth in my look, so this is perfect. So let's just go ahead and start by priming. I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base because this is my most reliable primer that I use when I test out new palettes. They did send me their primer potion, however, but like I said, I'm not going to use that in this video because I want to use a primer that I know I love. And I also just prefer to have a little bit more pigment in my primers because, as you can tell on my eyelids, sometimes they're a little bit stained because when you work with very colorful and bright eyeshadows, sometimes they stain a little bit, and that's okay, but I just need something that's going to be able to cover it up so that I can have a clean canvas for whatever I put on top. The palette also obviously came with one of the brushes that usually comes in these palettes. I will say it's been a while since I've had these, but I feel like this brush is different. I feel like this end isn't as like round as the other ones. Like it's a little bit more flat and pinched, but I kind of like that. So I'm gonna take this end of the brush and I'm gonna dip into the shade here called Spur, and I'm gonna use that as my transition shade to the teal. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use that because I just can't help myself. If there is a color in a palette, I'm definitely going to use it. And I feel like this is going to make for a really nice transition shade because it has quite a yellow undertone, which you can't really see that in the pan. It looks a little bit more on the nude side, but it's definitely got a very, very yellow base to it, which is going to work very nicely with that other shade. So I'm just gonna pack this in my crease. Obviously this isn't like, you know, super dark or isn't going to show up that much because it's a very light shade, but I'm just gonna use this just to put down a little bit of a base color. Also, this brush is extremely nice and soft. I really like this brush actually. For being a brush in a palette, this is a good brush. Most of the time I will throw away the brushes that come in palettes because, let's be honest, a lot of them just suck, but this one is honestly nice enough that I'm definitely going to keep it. So I'm not going to take this color under my eye, but I'm next going to go into the shade here called Tex. Did I even say what this palette was called? I don't think I did, but this is the Wild West palette. You guys probably knew that. This is available already. It's $48 on Sephora or wherever it is that you want to buy it. I will link it down below. Obviously, it is going to be an affiliate link because I link everything that I use as an affiliate link because that is what influencers do. So I'm going to start by taking this in the outer corner of my eye. That is very nice and pigmented. Super dark. Honestly, it looks a lot darker on the eye than it looks in the pan, and that makes me very excited because I love a dark matte. Just gonna build this up in the outer corner and then slowly start bringing this through my crease. I did switch brushes to a bit of a smaller brush here just so I have a little bit more control. This is my Rephr number 13 that I always use. That looks really, really nice. I'm super happy with how this is performing because this is looking beautiful. Gonna take this shade underneath my eye as well. Not gonna do anything fancy, just gonna connect that in the outer corner of my eye and just smoke this out and have the green be the only color under my eye. I didn't bother with the transition shade under my eye because it didn't really show up that much, so just thought I would go in with green on its own. So I'm not gonna lie, when Urban Decay reached out to me again, asking if I wanted to receive PR, this is my second time receiving PR from them. I also did get the Wired palette sent in PR, and I gave that less than a stellar review, let's just put it that way. So I was very surprised when they reached out and they wanted to send me this one because I thought for sure that after I made those videos that there's no way they would ever bother with me again because they probably have so many other people that would give everything they sent them a much better review. But I don't know, I really appreciate when brands don't take things too personally when you give a, you know, product a bad review because not all products are good, and it just depends on like who's trying them as well, you know, like I'm sure the Wired palette was good for some people, but for someone who uses color basically every single day, I have a lot to compare it to, so my standards are a lot higher than someone who just kind of dips their toes into using colors, you know. So it was really nice to see them reach out again and offer to send me this palette, because honestly I'm having a really good time with this. And I gotta say, I thought in the beginning that this color story was going to be not boring, but just not that inspiring to me, but having swatched it and now like trying it out, like I feel like there's a lot more going on in this palette than I originally thought it was going to be, and I really like it. I can see a lot of looks that I can do with this that wouldn't just be neutral looks, but would still be kind of fun. So I'm actually really excited about this palette. Do you guys want to see a multiple look video with this? I can't promise to have that up ASAP because I do have another video that I need to start working on that's a multiple look video, so it's gonna have to take a little bit. But if you want to see more looks with this palette, do let me know and I can probably do that. I'm thinking I can do like a 2 looks 1 palette or something like that, but let me know. So I'm not going to do the obvious. I'm not going to put the teal shimmer on my lid. I'm actually going to go ahead and use the gold shade because I'm wearing gold jewelry and I just feel like it would kind of go nicely with that. So I'm going to use this shade here called Hold'em. That is so funny. I used to play poker professionally, so Hold'em was like my thing. Just going to take some glitter primer before I go in with the shimmer and just pop that all over my lid because I want to make sure that I really get these shadows to show their full potential, and this is the best way to do that. And I'm gonna dip into the shadow here called Hold'em with the same brush on the sticky side because it's just going to help it pick up a lot better. And I'm just going to put that basically all over my lid here. So I would describe this shimmer formula as a very wearable shimmer formula. It's not super textured, it's not super metallic. It's definitely a shimmer, but it's not glittery or anything like that. I feel like this is very appropriate for being in a naked palette, if you know what I mean. Like I said in the beginning, I need to see this for what it is and not for what my preferences in eyeshadows are. And I feel like this is very suitable formula-wise for being in a naked palette. So I think that they did quite a good job with this. And then for the fun part, grabbing the shade here called Bud. Gonna spray this a little bit with some Fix Plus here just so we get this nice and intense, and I'm just gonna pop that right in my inner corner. I like this. I think this looks really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off and then I'll come back, show you the look, and we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on this palette. Here's how I decided to finish off. I wanted to pair this with a bit of a brown lipstick. I thought that would look really nice, and I feel like the tone of this is perfect. So this is a lipstick that I got from Dee Dee's Signature a while back. This is in the shade Stella Rose. These are so beautiful. I really like the formula on these. I need to use them more because these are really nice lipsticks. Let's see, what else did I do? I used the highlighter from Pixie. I used the Glowy Gossamer Duo, and I used the gold shade right here, or I guess it's more for champagne. It's not really that gold, but I thought it would look really nice with this look. And I'm also using a blush from Urban, and this one is in the shade Water Lily. In my waterline, I also popped a little bit of yellow. This is the eyeliner that Raw Beauty Kristi did in collaboration with Colourpop. It's in the shade Marigold. Love this. I think this looks really nice, and honestly I'm very impressed by this palette. I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, just like I said in the beginning. It's been such a long time since I've used a naked palette, so I kind of thought that this would be a little bit more just muted and toned down, but honestly using this, like, this is very pigmented and you can get a lot of very bold looks out of this, and that makes me really happy because that is what I am all about. And I feel like I can make this palette me. I feel like I can make this work for me despite it not necessarily being my aesthetic when you first look at it, but I feel like I can make this palette work, and I hope that you guys want to see more looks with this because I kind of want to do another 2 looks with this just to sort of play a little bit more and also just make up my mind on the formula. But so far I'm very impressed, and I think that this is really nice. So that's going to be my thoughts so far. Let me know if you guys are interested in this palette and if you plan on picking it up, because I'm sure a lot of you are probably going to be into something like this, because I know not everybody who watches me are like super into color, and I feel like this is a good place to kind of start, or a good place to play with color without it being like too much. So I think this is a really nice compromise. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. If you want to see some of the first impression videos that I have on my channel, here's my playlist, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.